This is the biggest forklift I've ever been on. You want to be able to drive an Abrams tank on top of it.
In this video, you'll learn how Atlas survival shelters build their structures. We plan to follow it up with 2 more videos. One, how to bury a container into a hillside, and another, how to bury a container completely underground. Yeah, it's not quite that simple. If you're interested in underground bunkers or potentially burying a sea can, join me in soaking up as much information as I can from the expert, Ron himself. So Ron, tell us, what does Atlas Survival Shelters do?
I build bomb shelters, luxury bomb shelters. Sometimes they're rich and famous, but not always. Nobody wants to be caught above ground if shit hits the fan, so they call me. Any shelter is better than no shelter, and one of these things cost about $4,000. A shelter the same size made by me with the stairs and the hatch and everything inside, turnkey, is about $80,000. Okay, so you could buy this for $4,000, buy the air system for about $8,800, get the door for about $4,500, do it yourself, and be in the shelter. You could be in everything for around $20,000, $25,000 and have a DIY shelter. There's nothing wrong with that.
Interesting story. Ron's friends with my first cousin and hunts on his farmland up here in Saskatchewan. He popped by our container yard before flying out of Saskatoon for only about an hour, so I mic'd him up and asked a ton of questions to share his wisdom with you, our audience.
I actually have new lines of bunkers coming out that are for the regular guy that start at $20,000. Until then, I was doing some pretty pimped out bomb shelters for some pretty famous people like the Kardashians and the Tate brothers and Facebook and Bitcoin and yeah, all them guys.
Cool, yeah, you'll have to tell us that at the end of the video here. But for now, we're gonna tour around our container yard here, show you what we do here at the Container Guy, and then maybe some ideas that we have.
That's cool.
Let's do it. So Ron, tell us about the unique features of your guys' shelters.
Well, I know you make containers, so what I do is I build a metal box with an exoskeleton that can hold the weight of the earth on top of it, where, you know, a shipping container is made to where you can stack them and all the weight could go on the 4 corners. So to make a square shelter that can be buried underground, it's got to have I-beams on the ceilings, I-beams under the floor. It's got to have channels going from one I-beam down to the other so it transfers the weight down to the bottom I-beam so it doesn't want to crush the box. Then we have to run horizontal channels side to side. So as you're looking at like one of my bunkers right here, you can see how structurally strong it is. That's because I'm burying some of my bunkers, you know, 10 feet underground, and I want them to have a blast rating that they can take the pressure. I've been doing a long time before there was any, like really any role models to follow. So if somebody would have been around like me and had a YouTube channel 13, 14 years ago,
it's been 84 years.
I would have watched all their videos and learned from their mistakes. But so what I do is I now make the mistakes and I teach people what to do and not what to do. So when I started making shelters originally, all I did was round galvanized culvert shelters. The thing is, I came out with a shelter called the Safe Cellar that's kind of square like this, and it feels like part of the house. So we put them in the ground, and then the stairs lead up to a hidden hatch that's in the floor behind a fake wall with a bookshelf that opens up. But you say open sesame, the wall opens, and then there's the stairwell that leads down to the bunker. So when you come in the bunker, it's either a wine cellar, a gun room, a bomb shelter, a man cave, a fire shelter, you know, whatever it may be. But they're just cool, but they're catching on, and that's why my factory is so busy, because people like that recreational value of them too.
So I'm curious myself, if you were to build a new shelter for yourself tomorrow, what unique features would you include in it?
I have this new shelter that's called the Fat Boy. It's got a 10-foot ceilings with a sunken living room with handrails that go all the way around the deck. And it feels like more of like being in a New York apartment or a yacht because it's so wide. It's 14 feet wide, 50 feet long with such high ceilings that it's really cool. So I'm putting one in for Bitcoin right now. And they're going to use it as their command and control center. So we're putting all the monitors on the walls, but bunkers are just cool, you know. I'm a big fan of people building their own shelters. As I said, I can't make enough bunkers. I'm just one person. Imagine if there's just one guy that made pizza, okay? You couldn't do it. You got to have pizza makers everywhere to supply enough pizza to the people in the world. So I try to be that guy that supplies the air systems, the doors, technology, drawings, advice, air pipes, and everything you need to survive.
Our audience is huge amount of DIYers, and so I got some ideas on how to reduce some of maybe the welding and a lot of the laser cutting and folding techniques that we have and the engineering team that we have. So I've been watching your channel for about 6 months.
Yeah.
And every time I see it, I'm like, because everything we do, we always say, how do we get rid of traditional steel? Like HSS, I'll always continue to use I-beam. But I don't think that there's a place in this planet anymore for C-channel or potentially even hollow sections unless you need something to secure into there and not go through the other side. Yeah, we could laser cut bolt holes even for alignment and then welding, or I would say weldless would be the only way that this would work. One thing that's interesting is if you cut with nitrogen, it reseals the edge.
Really?
I think another issue potentially is your floor would kind of half sag, but maybe we could mitigate that through the beams that are over here, but anywho.
He's got the bunker bug, doesn't he? There's nothing wrong with making a prototype and failing and learning from that one why it worked or why it didn't work or why it was not cost effective or why it was a pain in the butt. But then you're stuck with a prototype, so you got to find somebody to buy your prototype, Good thing about bunkers, you can always sell your prototypes.
Yeah.
There's somebody willing to take it.
Yeah, we've engineered a lot of cool above ground solutions, but naturally now we're getting a lot of inquiries to bury a container underground. So how do we go about that?
What you got to do is you got to develop a stair system or a ladder system. Older people do not like ladders, they like stairs. I'm getting to that age where I just want to be in a bunker if I need a bunker, but if I'm going to use it for recreation, I'm going to use it for gun storage, wine storage, a tornado shelter, a fire shelter. You got to keep in mind, there's so many uses you can use this for. Okay, in America and on the West Coast, California, we have wildfires and then you worry about doomsday. You go to Oklahoma, you have tornado shelters and you worry about doomsday. You go to Texas, you worry about tornado shelters and doomsday. You go to Florida, it's hurricanes. But if you go to other areas, they're worried about Mount St. Helens or whatever, erupting, or Yellowstone erupting. So everybody should at least have an insurance plan, and that should be in the form of some sort of personal shelter for their family if they feel this world is going in the wrong direction. And most of us who watch this stuff do. The one shipping container, I actually did two, but the one shipping container that I did, I turned it upside down because the floors on a shipping container are, they're wood. And they were just basically open. So if you put it in the ground and the water rises, it's just gonna come right through the floor. So I put it upside down, took the doors off the end, welded a plate on with the door on, welded it solid with the intention of putting this galvanized corrugated tin, covering it with concrete over the top and the side. And I figured if I could have done that, I could have controlled the water along with the sump pump. But unfortunately, the guy I sent it to didn't listen to my directions. He put it in the ground, covered it with earth, so as the water drained through the earth, it seeped in, it went around, and it completely destroyed that 20-foot shipping container shelter that I made like 10 years ago. So I stopped doing them then. Now, I'm not saying you can't do them, but it's basically you got to create like a concrete bathtub, put them in there, backfill them with concrete or engineered rock, then cover them and make sure that they're waterproof. Otherwise, they'll leak and they'll just flood. Because I've had it happen to me. I've been doing these bunkers for like, 12, 13 years. I've seen bunkers get water in them, and it's sickening to see that happen. That's why you change and you adapt and you listen and you learn and you don't do things. And that's why I put all my experiences, both good and bad, on YouTube so I can help people when they do it themselves. I travel all over the world. I'm doing bunkers in Europe and Australia and Asia, and I mean, just all over the place. Bunkers are really a hot item right now. People are preparing for the shit to hit the fan, I'm telling you. I'll tell you the story. So I get a call from a TV producer that says they're keeping up the Kardashians, and that Kim and Khloe, or the Kardashians, want a bunker, and they want to film an episode inside it. So we did our first meeting via Zoom, okay? And the first thing I said to them was like, y'all are looking good. Let's go out and party.
What are y'all doing?
Good, how are you? Great.
Y'all are looking good.
You're looking good, Ron.
In person. Let's go hang out and party.
Yeah! In a bunker.
So it's funny in the video, they're sitting there like pampering themselves. And it's like, so we got completely, never even talked about bunkers. We talked about everything but bunkers. So finally we had to break down after about 45 minutes. I made a bunker and then I shipped it out to California. And so Chloe and Kim go inside and do their episode. It was called New Friends in the Bunker on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the very last season. But they were totally cool with me. I mean, I was never a Kardashian fan.
Yeah, no.
I'm really still not. The funny thing was I was wearing an Obama shirt and a MAGA hat because I was trying to be funny, okay? Well, turns out Kanye West is running for president at the time, so the producer asked me to take off the MAGA hat, and I got stuck with an Obama shirt. I look like an idiot, but I caught hell for that, so I had to do a YouTube short about how they made me take off the MAGA hat, you know, this on my channel. But no, they were cool. They were cool. Yeah, so that's my Kim Kardashian story.
Thank you for telling it. That's awesome. So hope you guys enjoyed that. All of this expertise and experience and wisdom is just so beneficial to me and my audience. And so I'm very thankful for you coming here today, and I know my audience is as well. And so where can my audience find you?
Well, they can watch me on my own YouTube channel, Atlas Survival Shelters. I usually film the actual bunkers that I install. I've got over 100 million views and almost 500,000 subs, so it's gotten quite popular.
And even myself, I'm not kidding, I've been following Ron for about 6 months. I'm a subscriber. If you guys do him a favor, jump over there and hit that subscribe button as well.
That's pretty cool.
Thank you very much.
Okay.